What's up, besties? It's your girl Morgan here, and you're listening to Your Internet Best Friend. All right, y'all, we are here. We are solo podcasting today, and for once in my life, I don't really have a game plan. So let's just start with a little life update, because normally I have a plan for everything in my life, but some things have happened, and I'm making this sound so dramatic, but it is just an incredibly busy season in my life, and we're going to talk about it. And I had a small panic attack driving here, because normally I'm posting on my Instagram, I'm asking for feedback, what do you guys want me to talk about? And life just happened. I don't know if you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, what I'm wearing. I walked in and even producer Courtney was like, "You own black?" And I'm like, "Courtney, I'm having an identity crisis." I got off a meeting. I had calls all morning. I walked into my closet and said, "I don't know who I am anymore." So I put on an extra large Johnny Cash t-shirt. I put on a pair of ripped wide leg jeans and black leather boots. And I have never been more uncomfortable and like, who am I? But I don't know. I feel like I'm just in a weird place in my life right now. So I'm going to talk about it because that's what I do best. And I feel like with this podcast, and it's funny, I was just actually talking about this on my Instagram story the other day, bringing up toxic positivity, where I feel like, especially those on the internet, myself, influencers, those in the public eye, feel this pressure, and other people look at us to always be positive. Like, life is great. It's sunshine and rainbows, and I have so much to be thankful for. And I totally do. But at the same time, sometimes I think it's just okay to be a human and complain and feel your feelings and just sit in what I say. This sounds weird, but like sit in the shit, sit in the suck, and just kind of deal with it. I feel like the more we fake positivity, the less relatable we are. And I don't know. I just want to be a human. So let's just talk about life. As I'm ready to go to a rock concert in my graphic tee. So life update, why I'm overwhelmed, why I don't have a game plan, why I feel like I'm just kind of all over the place, which is so not Morgan. My assistant quit out of the freaking blue. I was not expecting that one. So let's start with that. I do a lot of things. We've got my fitness business. We've got the app. We've got the podcast. We've got Miles with Morgan. We've got my Instagram. We've got my Like to Know It. We've got the book club. We've got the merch. Do you guys want to know why I'm in therapy? That list right there. So I had an assistant she is a rock star. I have nothing bad to say about her. Truly, she made my life, oh my God, so easy. I would depend on this girl for everything. She was a college student, and somehow she was able to manage that and all the shit I have going on in my life. So she really was like my right-hand woman. I get a text out of the blue. She quit. And look, I can't be mad. Things happen. People switch to new jobs. Okay, I totally get that. Now, the hard part and why I'm kind of losing my mind is the holidays are the busiest time, especially for influencers. We got gift guides. We've got 12 days of Christmas outfits, which why on earth I decided to do that is beyond me. It's like, Morgan, you've got a lot of things going on. You know what else we're going to do? 12 days of sparkly outfits on my Instagram. No one needed that. That was unnecessary, but I took that upon myself, and now I'm stuck doing it. So anyways, very busy season where I need a lot of help. And now I no longer have that help. So again, no hard feelings, wish her well. Wish she really could have stuck it out to January 1st to get me through the holidays. But again, that show business, baby. Although the whole influencer world is just kind of a crazy industry. I'm about to go on so many tangents in this solo podcast, and tangents happen a lot for me, even when I have a game plan. So imagine me not having a game plan. Ooh, I hope you guys can follow me on all these different little paths we go down. But the social media world, the industry I'm in, it is crazy when you think about it. So a little side note with this story, and look, I still do wish her well, but I found out her new role by this. So I have a manager. She's a talent manager. Her name's Courtney, Little Red Management. love her. She is the reason I'm able to pay my rent. She is a rock star. I'm trying to get her on the podcast. So there's a lot of different talent managers in this industry, right? There's Courtney. Basically, every blogger that you see online has some kind of management, and they bring them deals and they do all the money and they work directly with the brands. So Courtney is subscribed to a newsletter of a different talent manager, which I'm not really sure why. But one night after all this happened, I'm losing my mind last week. I am stressed. I'm trying to find a new assistant, which, by the way, praise Jesus, I am working with someone new. I found her because everyone in Nashville is wanting to help other people. So I'm in the middle of training her. Training is just a lot. As you guys listen to the long list of things that I do, obviously to teach someone the ropes is a lot, but whatever. We're working on it. I'm slowly starting to come back up to the surface. I'm no longer drowning as much. Anywho, Courtney gets an email from this other talent manager and she sends me a picture and she's like, this is weird. Is this fill in the blank of her name, your assistant? And I look and I was like, oh my God, that is her. And it turns out the reason she quit out of the blue is because she is now working for the direct competitor of my manager, which again, look, you got to do what you got to do. I'm sure that's a full-time job. Luckily she signed a pretty gnarly NDA. I make everyone do that because, they have access to my passwords and they know all the ins and outs of my business. I just thought it was so funny that I just thought she was quitting because she wanted to have like a fun Christmas break in college and party. And I'm like, yes, girl, I actually support that. You have that spring semester. You go be a degenerate and enjoy college life before you're thrust into the real world. I support that. I don't necessarily support you going to work for my manager's direct competitor after you know all my personal details and the brands I work with. Anyway, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Just a funny little side note of when it rains, it pours. If it's not one thing, it's going to be a whole long list of other things. So it's fine. We have found someone in Nashville. God bless her soul. She's probably like, why is this influencer texting me at 11 p.m. on a Monday? But that's how my life works. No set hours, but we're on the mend. So that's that. That's a little bit of why I'm a tad not myself, a tad overwhelmed. I've been working, I don't even know how many hours a day I've been working, but not normal hours, just to try and stay afloat. I also am relaunching. Tell me why I felt the need to do this one as well. I get these crazy ideas in my head. And before I think them through, and maybe I should start talking to my therapist about this or, my parents and kind of get some feedback. I really do think I can do everything. I am convinced, and this is where I'm about to go in this tangent as to why I might be struggling a little bit mentally and emotionally right now, is I really do think I can do everything. And I am quick to start a task. And I'm also very quick to compare myself to other people doing that as well. Even though, look, I have the podcast, I'm so honored, and I have my business and my fitness business, and I feel like I'm doing everything, but I am so quick to look at other people and be like, oh, but they're doing that. Why am I not doing that? So tangents. With my new app, it is coming out January 1st. So that is just a whole other ordeal. Tell me why. I have a fitness app right now with all my workouts. And I said, you know what I really need to do? Let's scratch that one and let's make a custom app, which I'm actually very excited about. So if you listen to my long list and you're like, Morgan, that is a ton of stuff that you do. Well, now it is going to live all in one place. So it's a lot. But now I'll have my workouts. The podcast that you're listening to right now will be in the app. So you can get a nice little push notification when a new episode drops. I'll have recipes, nutrition. It's where you can shop all my merch. You can literally everything that is under this Morgan umbrella that I have will live in this app. So yeah, it is really freaking cool. It's just making me lose my mind trying to get all of this set up. So again, we're managing. That's another little life update. And then I would say, I think on Friday, I had just a little bit of a life crisis, an identity crisis. I don't really know what to call it, but I kind of just realized I'm lost. I think that's the best way to describe how I'm feeling right now if I'm giving an honest life update. Now, if I was giving an a not honest update, I'd say, oh my God, things are great. And I'm going on a ski trip next week with a brand. And I've got a new app coming out that I'm really excited about. And I'm so on top of my game. And I have fun Christmas plans. Okay, cool. That's maybe what I should be saying. But I'm not going to lie to you guys because I think it is important to always be honest with how you're feeling, especially when, and I kind of brought this up on social media the other day, I don't know, social media is a highlight reel. So I feel like you could look at my life and be like, oh my God, she has her shit together. She is, so lucky and she's got it going on. But in reality, I feel like a total freaking mess. Yeah. And so I don't know. I think that's important to bring up, that you can't compare yourself to others, because right now that's what I'm doing, is comparing myself. I just feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm failing at everything that I do. And yes, I'm sure that is because I've bitten off way more than I can chew. I also just feel lost. I feel like I don't have any clarity with anything in my life. The other day, I don't know why I went down this rabbit hole, but I was like, do I even want to stay in Nashville? I think I do. And I don't know why I am feeling this. I don't know if it's the seasons. I don't know if, again, it's work overloading me. I don't know if it's my romantic life. I'm sure we can get into that with Tall Hot Ibiza Aussie Cruise Man, whatever the hell his name is, his alias. I can't even say it right now. I just feel super lost. And I think the reason I felt that way about Nashville, and look, I am a single gal. I am always on the go, and I really do adore Nashville. But I kind of realized that all my people here have something like rooting them in Nashville. So most of my friends are engaged or dating someone seriously or planning a wedding. My best friend Heather just got a dog, which is the sweetest, most precious puppy ever. And I love her dearly, but that's like her new child. And apparently everyone in Nashville has a dog. Like I actually called my mom and I was like sad. I was like, I feel so left out. She's like, why? I was like, literally everyone here has a dog or a boyfriend or like something, and I feel like I have nothing. I literally, like, I just feel like I don't fit in, and all my friends are moving on without me. She was like, all of this is because your friend got a dog. And I was like, yes, Mom, I'm losing it over here. But I don't know, I feel out of place a bit because of that. And that's such a silly thing. And I'm sure you're listening to this being like, well, Morgan, get a dog. Okay, well, that easier said than done. I also travel way too much for that. You're listening, you're like, well, Morgan, why don't you stay in one place and date more? Okay, well, I don't want to do that either, because I have officially given up on Nashville dating. I'm not doing it. Don't try and change my mind. It's not worth my time. And I also, unfortunately, have fallen quite deeply for someone who lives on the other side of the world. I think that's where things get a little complicated too, but I'm obviously not wanting to seek out dating here. I don't know. Anyways, that's currently where I'm at. I can't even put into words how I'm feeling. You're probably listening to this being like, you're on a tangent. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up this little tangent and kind of try and tie it together with all these different things. And if you're listening to this and you can relate in any way, maybe you feel behind in your timeline, or maybe you feel like you're overwhelmed with work, or maybe you feel like you're lost and you don't know if you need change or you need to stay put. I don't know, but I hope you can relate to me. And Jess, I really do think my word of the year comes into play right now. And it's so funny that there's 2 months left of this year and I'm over here. I was like, I am good to go. Who needs the word trust? I've trusted all year long. Like, I'm cruising the rest of the year. And life smacked me across the face and they said, plot freaking twist. No, you need to trust more than you have ever trusted before. And so I feel like I just want to bring up that word, trust. So wherever you're at in life, take a breath. You don't have a crystal ball. Okay. Trust me. I wish I had one too. I think what I need the most is just to be able to look and see my future and find some kind of ease, knowing what it holds. But guess what? We don't have that. All we have is trust. Trust in, I don't know if you're a believer, but for me, trust in God, trust in his plan, trust in myself, and just trust that everything's going to work out the way that it's supposed to be. So instead of me trying to figure out, do I need to move somewhere? Do I need to get a dog? Do I need to quit something I have on my plate? Whatever I need to do, I'm just taking a breath and I'm just going to trust, and take it day by day and know that a mantra I've been saying, big mantra girl, is I can and I will and I always do. And that goes for everything. When I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's like, no. When have you listening or me in my own life not been able to do something? Like, you've gotten through everything that has come your way, whether that's a bad relationship or going through work or moving. You can and you will and you always do, because guess what? You're sitting where you are right now, so you've somehow made it through whatever that hard thing is. So I don't know. I wish I had more of a positive spin on that. I'm just feeling so, I don't know, mentally drained, emotionally drained. I actually did jot down some life updates in my notes, and I realized I've talked about one thing. I've went on a tangent about 12 other things, and I haven't brought up any of the other stuff that actually is going on in my life. So speaking on comparison and wanting things and not trusting, and I don't know, I think with my app and the podcast and everything, I had a vision board this year and I wanted to do all these things. The vision board is quite literally the background of my phone. I look at it every single day. Vision boards actually do work. And I realized I have checked off every single thing on this vision board, minus the whole, like, I put a picture of like a girl making out with a cowboy. So like that hasn't happened yet. I don't know why I put that on my vision board, but like, who knows? You know, we could read into that in a different way. Since someone is coming to America and maybe visiting Nashville. Anyways, I've checked off 99.9% of the things on my vision board. And instead of celebrating that and patting myself on the back and being so proud at everything that I've done this year, tell me why I'm looking at what I haven't done. And I'm looking at, okay, well, my vision was to start a podcast this year. And I'm sitting in a chair and I'm in a podcast studio and I'm on episode 22 of a podcast. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not making money from the podcast. I'm not doing ads yet. Why don't I have more listeners? Why don't I have more downloads? Like, why is the Instagram page not growing? Like, what? Like, I'm thinking 5 years down the road of like, well, am I going to do live shows? Like, will people even show up? Will people care about this podcast? Like, I'm sinking all this money into it. Like, what if I'm doing all this and it isn't a success? And it's just like, Morgan, shut up. Literally just shut up. And I don't know if you're listening and you can relate to that as just to like not being satisfied with what you have, but always wanting more. And I just think that's society in general, especially with social media and playing the comparison game. So I'm going to challenge myself and I'm going to challenge you to just pay attention to what your first goal was. And if you've done it, celebrate it. And then just let the rest ride out. Like, why am I looking 5 years down the line instead of just sitting in the moment and being thankful for what I have right now? And like, who knows, maybe this podcast a year from now is a wild success. Hell yeah, that's amazing. And if not, I'm sure I learned a lot along the way. And for right now, I'm going to sit in this chair. I'm going to blab about my life. But you know what? Speaking on that, I'm going to go on another little tangent. If you are listening to this and you want to download and maybe like post it to your story or tell a friend so we can get those downloads up, I'm not going to complain. But I just wanted to bring that up because it's so funny. I was looking at my vision board and I wasn't celebrating it. I wasn't celebrating everything I did. Instead, I was making a list of everything that I have not done yet. So I want to just bring that up, that shift your mindset if you need to. I know that I need to. What else do I have going on in my life? I'm going to Park City next week with my sister, Alex Shea Willette, and then I'm going home for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to try my hardest to definitely going to get my sister on the pod to give a little life update. I am begging my parents to do this podcast. My dad flat out was like, absolutely not. My dad, that is so rude. So he's like a definite no, but Kim is teetering. Kim Willette is teetering. Sometimes I'll ask her and she's down. And then one week I'll ask her and she's like, never ask me this ever again. And I'm like, that is, again, so rude. The last time I talked to her, she agreed. My mom is rude actually for this one. She agreed that she would do the podcast if I got her a YSL bag, which is like, now that I think about it, $2,000. So, okay, Kim Willette, I like your style. You can borrow my YSL bag for a day. That's like a fair trade-off, but I don't know. Am I going to get my mom a YSL bag for Christmas simply so she will do the podcast? Who knows? But I would love to get Kim Willette on. And then, yeah, Alex and I will shoot the shit. I'm going to bring the podcast equipment to Park City. Just imagine Alex and I. I'm just picturing us arguing on the side of a mountain. She's a snowboarder. I ski. We always get in an argument because she's learning how to snowboard. And y'all, there is nothing worse than, like, I'm not an expert skier by any means. Like, I can get down a mountain. I really only picked up skiing as like an adult hobby because I like the outfits a lot. And I just want to be a cute little ski bunny. And did I just buy like 3 new ski suits for this season? Sure did. Anyways, I can like get down a mountain. I'm not a pro by any means. I'm there for the fashion and the booze. Alex is a beginning snowboarder, so she's done it like twice. And if you know, you know. There's nothing worse than getting off a chairlift with a beginner snowboarder. Her and I get in the biggest arguments because I'm like, do not grab onto me. I will be mortified if you pull me off this chairlift. And it's hard that's why I don't snowboard. It is so difficult to get off a chairlift. So imagine little Alex like trying to learn every single time she grabs my arm and down we go down. I get so embarrassed. So I told her this time, I was like, we're going on different chairlifts. You're on your own, sister. I'm going to go here. We'll meet at the bottom of the mountain. So I cannot wait to give an update on how the skiing goes. Oh, and also my last life update it is November, and I have not given I haven't recorded a solo podcast since, I guess, October. I chose to, for some odd reason, do no excuse November. What does that mean? No excuse means I'm not drinking the whole entire month. And if you've listened to my rant at the beginning of this podcast, you're probably, Morgan, you need an alcoholic beverage. It seems like you need to chill out. Maybe that's also why I'm just absolutely spiraling, is I have not had tequila, spicy margs, wine. Okay, it's been 14 days, but it's been difficult. I feel like anyone who is doing No Excuse November right now, Godspeed to us, because the holidays are a stressful time. And why I didn't choose to do this in like February, maybe like a sober March situation. No, I said sober November, we're doing it. And so far I'm holding myself to it. I also decided to make my own version of 75 hard. Why? Because it's like I really wanted to just like lock myself in the loony bin this month. Like I really wanted to push myself to extremes and just make myself lose my mind. So in addition to not drinking, I am doing Morgan's version. I'm 30 hard. So 30 days, 2 workouts a day, a gallon of water, 10 pages of a book. Oh, I skipped last night. Shit. Okay, whatever. Well, it's supposed to be 10 pages of a book, following a diet, no alcohol, and then check-in photos. It is actually miserable, but I'm just telling myself by the end of these 30 days, one, I'm going to be mentally stronger. I'm going to be physically stronger. I'm definitely not going to be emotionally stronger because I think I've cried every single day for the past 2 weeks, but I feel like I'm going to be so accomplished. So if you want to join me, it is not too late. If you're joining me and you started on November 1st and you're also miserable, welcome to the club. So am I. And yeah, that's all I got on those life updates. Let's talk about now something that I wanted to bring up because last episode, solo episode, we talked about the challenge. I've talked about Big Brother. I've talked about X on the Beach. We have completed the reality TV trifecta. So now I'm like, what should we talk about? I was driving here as I was wildly unprepared for the solo podcast because life and everything it's just shit has hit the fan. So I was thinking, I'm like, why don't I talk about college? Like, I feel like everyone knows me and I kind of came into the public eye after college, with Big Brother. That was my first time. And then through influencing, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like a lot of people don't know 18-year-old Morgan. 18 to 22 years. She was in Austin, Texas. She went to the University of Texas. Yeehaw, hook 'em horns. So I wanted to talk about that just because the stories I have from college are actually outrageous. And if you are I'm 29. If you're in your late 20s and you were in college back in the day, you probably can agree with me. The shit that used to happen would not fly. It was like the wild, wild west back in the day, meaning I'm not proud of this. I'm actually probably shouldn't be saying this. I'm not condoning underage drinking, but if I was to condone it, I would say this. I had a paper ID, meaning in college, I downloaded a template on Microsoft Paint and I copied basically, like when you lose your license, you go to the DMV, and back in the day, I'm sure they don't do it nowadays. You get like a piece of paper and it's like your temporary license. I made one of those for myself. I printed that piece of paper out, put my photo on it, signed it, and I would go into restaurants. I would go into liquor stores. I would go into bars with a piece of paper printed out of my college dorm printer. And it worked. I was thinking about that and I'm like, that would not fly. That would simply not fly. There's no way. If you are in college and you're listening to this podcast, probably not. I think my demographic's a little older. Please let me know. Are fake IDs still a thing? I feel like they've cracked down on that. But after I went through my paper ID phase, then I obviously used my sister's ID, but then I lost it twice. Okay. Eventually on this podcast, I think I'll tell this story when Alex comes on. All you need to know is there was an incident where I ended up in a hospital. Look, I lived to tell the story, okay? Everything is fine. But I ended up in a hospital and I was booked under Alex Shaywalet's name. That's all you need to know about that story. But I had her ID and then I lost it for the second time and she cut me off. She was like, no more. And then tell me why I had a Oklahoma fake ID and how I got this. Tell me how this was a thing and tell me why my mother, Kim Willette, drove me to go do this. I'm telling y'all, wild, wild west. That was college in 2012 to 2016. Those were the days. I got an ID. I drove to a sketchy building in Dallas. A frat guy gave me the address. Actually, I think it was a Sigma Chi frat guy. He said, drive here. You'll get an ID. I said, okay. So I drove there. Actually, my mom drove me there. And I pulled up to a little window. There were bars on it. Okay. Sketchy. And I gave them some cash. And then out came an ID. And it was an Oklahoma ID. But it wasn't a good one. It was like on a thick piece of plastic. And you could literally see the outline of the sticker on this ID. But I was just so pumped to have it. Mainly because I couldn't get into the bars when I went back from, I think this was winter break, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, my social life is over. I don't have my fake ID anymore. Like, I need to go to the Sigma Chi bar tab. God forbid I missed that. So I was so pumped to have this. And I mean, for some reason, I actually don't think that ID got me into every single bar. It's like a 50-50 shot. Like if I looked really good, like winked, they would let me in. And then some or like, I guess some bouncers who were like, sticklers, I guess, didn't want to, get fired, would look at it and be like, nice try, sister. Like, try the other bar down the road and be like, damn. Anyways, let's rewind a bit about my college experience. So those are just, some of the stories. Again, I grew up in Granbury, Texas. My parents weren't strict, but I definitely was not allowed to do whatever I wanted in high school. I had rules and curfews, and I didn't really party because I was cheering. Again, I skipped my senior prom to go to a cheer competition. Like, okay, who does that? We didn't even win. It was cheerleading worlds. Those who know, they know. I took it so seriously. So by the time I got to college, 8-2 Morgan, she was ready to hit the ground running. I was ready to go balls to the wall. I was free. And now you're probably listening to this being like, wow, you were such a party girl. Like, how'd you do that? You degenerate. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I actually was. But at the same time, I don't know how, because now if I don't get 10 hours of sleep and have my Xanax prescription, I lose my mind. But in college, I somehow managed to cheer. I cheered all 4 years for the University of Texas. I was a full-time student. I worked. I had a job. Not all 4 years didn't have a job. Okay, my mom's going to listen to this and yell at me and be like, you definitely did not work all 4 years. But the last 2, I did have a job. I had morning workouts, so I was like required to actually be active and show up for those through cheer. I was in a sorority, go Zeta, Zlam, as the cool kids would say. I did Greek life. I went out. I'm not kidding. The nights of the week I went out, here's my rotation. Tuesday. Casual Tuesday. Don't know why that was a thing in college. Thirsty Thursday. I'm sure it was called Fucked Up Friday. I would cheer Saturdays at a football game. Directly after that game, after sweating, moving my body for 4 hours straight, would go out to the bars. Then there would be like probably a Sunday fun day. Anyways, I had a break on a Monday. That's what you need to know. It was actually insane. And somehow I managed to do all of this. And if you're wondering if my grades slipped, no, they did not. I don't know how this happened. It is by the grace of God. I don't understand. I must have been cracked out on. I actually was like a weird 5-hour energy addict in college. I would have like those little shots. No way they're good for you. But I actually got them, like the idea from my dad. He drinks them like crazy and he is convinced that they are good for you. He's like, there's vitamins in it. And I'm like, there's no way. There's like so many warning labels on these. But I would have one in the morning to get me through workouts in class. And then I would have one in the afternoon to get me through cheer practice. From cheer practice, I would have to go most days directly to a volleyball game, a soccer game, a basketball game, cheer. And then I would study afterwards. Study is like a loose term. I would study or go to like whatever social event. Insane. But I managed to graduate from the University of Texas. I don't know what the Latin word is. Sigma cum laude? I don't know. I graduated with highest honors. That's what you need to know. I did not have a 4.0, but I had like, I want to brag on myself for a hot second. I think I had like a 3.9. So I somehow managed to be a total degenerate, but also very studious at the same time. Now, what you need to know, was I trying to be a lawyer? No. Was I trying to be a doctor? Absolutely not. Not even like business school. We didn't want to do that, which now looking back on it, if I really wanted to use a degree, now that I own a business, I kind of wish College Morgan would have taken that a little bit more seriously. No, I did what every blonde girl in America did. Broadcast journalism. I did what everyone wanted to be. They wanted to be on TV. So what did I do? I said, I'm going to do broadcast journalism. I'm going to be the next Erin Andrews. Okay. So I started, I think I wanted to do like sports reporting, and then it went from news anchoring. Then it took a turn and it went to entertainment reporting, which is actually what led me to moving to Los Angeles. But that is probably why I was able to do everything that I did in college and get good grades. Is yes, journalism, it's hard. Okay. We wrote a lot of papers and I had to lug around a camera on campus. Like we had to be our own, what they call MMJs, multimedia journalists. So I had to go and interview random people and I had to carry around a massive tripod and a camera all throughout campus. So yeah, that was rigorous. Okay. Now, was I studying for the LSAT? No, I was not. But I did write a lot of papers. So not a hard degree. Definitely required a lot of studying. And look, as we've all learned, I'm a type A psychopath. So for some reason, when I set my mind to something, I'm going to do it. And I was the girl in every single class project. I rolled myself from bed, hungover. I think I'm not proud of this. I think I went to class probably still drunk quite a few times. But you know what? I was the girl who did all the class projects. Anytime there was a group project, my ass was the one doing it. I wouldn't even let anyone else attempt because I was like, look, I know that we're going to do this right. So that was, we to this day don't know how I did that, because now I can't even fathom studying for anything. Okay. So in addition to obviously class, study, party, whatever, I was in a sorority. I also was a cheerleader. Let's talk about like sororities, because I'm sure everyone has seen Bama Rush, the documentary. I actually haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. And I'm sure you've seen all the TikToks from Rush. Let me tell you, that was not a thing when I was in school. It is actually so weird to me looking at that. Like, I just feel like, and look, I think this is life in general. Once TikTok took over, I feel like everything changed. Now it's like girls and like, they're so hot. First of all, I'm like, these are college girls like doing the Rush dances and everyone's like chanting and there's signs and it's just so over the top. That was not a thing when I was in school. I mean, yes, we obviously had Rush Week, and yes, it is. I want to go into like kind of what that is like, because it actually is crazy and such an odd process, but it was not as crazy intense as it is now. Thank the Lord, because I look at it now and I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to do it. Like, I obviously want kids and I want them to go to school, but I'm like, do I want them to rush? I don't know. Like that, it's honestly, I mean, I guess if they wanted to, I would let them. But if they didn't want to, I'm not going to be the mom to be like, oh my God, well, I'm a legacy. You need to go to Zeta and blah. No, that's freaking weird. Also, I saw probably on TikTok that now there's like rush coaches. Like moms are paying like thousands of dollars for their kid to be coached to go through rush. And to me, I'm like, I'm appalled. First of all, because if you like what to go to rush, you talk to people. So what you're paying for your kid to have social skills? I don't know. It's just so bizarre to me, this whole Greek life and how much it has changed. And I think back in the day it was intense, but not what it is now. So I went through rush. I obviously was a Zeta. I don't really know why I went Zeta. I was a cheerleader at the time, so I think I just like saw a bunch of cheer girls. I was like, that seems fun. My mom was a Chi, so there was like a big controversy. I feel dumb even bringing up Greek life. Like, ew, it's kind of cringy, but like if you want to know about it, here you go. My mom was a Chi. Everyone expected me to go Chi, and there was like, they call it like dirty rushing, which is when you'll be out, like it is crazy. Like they would take out young high school girls and you would just kind of be dirty rush. So the girls in the sorority would pull you aside and kind of try and coax you to be in their sorority, which is super not allowed. But at the time, all the Chios were trying to get me to go Chi because my mom was a Chi. Anyways, I hate myself for even talking about this. It's actually so icky. I went Zeta, whatever. Rush is strange. So think University of Texas. Again, this was oh my God, I'm old. 2012 when I rushed. You're in like little khaki shorts and everyone's in a matching t-shirt and it's 100 degrees in Texas and you are sprinting with thousands of girls from house to house. Meanwhile, the fraternity guys are sitting outside and I think at one point they were like throwing eggs at girls, like just like traumatizing them. It's honestly something out of a movie. I can't believe that I did it. You walk up to these houses. It's weird now that I'm saying this out loud. There's like a little knock on the door and then girls just come out of like every open possible door screaming, spirit fingers, chanting, and then they come find you and they lead you in one by one. And basically what you do is you just talk to girls and make small talk. And then you end up like preffing which ones you want. Anyways, I can't speak on rush too much because if you are a cheerleader or an athlete, it's almost like you kind of just get in because every sorority wants like they want like the status like of having so many cheerleaders or having so many athletes or etc. So I don't know. It was very easy for me just as a cheerleader. I don't think that I participated that much in Greek life. I don't really have that much to say. I think rush is weird. I am not like a diehard Zeta. I still have my close girlfriends. I really did it for the social life. So essentially Greek life these days. I love it. Sisterhood. Yay. Fun. Zlam. Zeta love in mind is what that stands for. Do I think you're kind of paying for friends a little bit? I don't know. That's my take. I think it's expensive. I think if you have to go to a certain amount of meetings, with me being a cheerleader, I kind of got an out on all of that. So that's kind of why I stuck with it for all 4 years. Look, I had the best memories ever. I wouldn't take it back. I just think it is expensive and the rush process is a little outrageous. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I'm trying to think my most vivid memory of Greek life. So you rush, you pick your house. Some girls are crying because they got cut, which is really sad. Some girls are screaming because they're excited. Anyways, you have like a big rush day. You find your house and then you all go out and rage your face off that night. And that was like my first taste of Greek life. So I just remember one of the older girls picked me up and it's actually crazy. You just wear like matching comfort colored t-shirts and they're size XXL. And back in the day, the trend was like Nike shorts and then like a neon sports bra. And I had like a backwards hat. And I just remember I was covered in glitter and we're like pre-gaming. I'm drinking vodka out of like a water bottle. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like the next 4 years is like consisting of warm vodka out of a water bottle. And I just had Sharpie all over me. Like I drawing ZTA. I had like, I think at one point, because they call you baby Zetas, I had like an infant drawn on my bicep. I don't know why. All I know is we went out that night. It was my first taste of Greek life, and I was a little overserved. And guess who had class? My very first college class the very next morning. Me. I think it was like at 8 a.m. And I slept in some random Zeta's bed, and I just woke up at 7:45. My alarm went off. I had glitter everywhere. I'm in my tank top. I had a fanny pack strapped on. I have this Sharpie covering every surface of my body. And I was like, oh my God, I'm late. I sprinted across campus. I did not know it was like what they call syllabus week. So, I mean, you're literally just going over the syllabus. No one actually goes to class. But, you know, I was a type A weirdo even back then. I like felt the need to go to this class. So I picture this. It's in like a big auditorium, like your freshman class. There's hundreds of students in a big class setting. The University of Texas is massive. I end up being like 5 minutes late. I bust through the doors and everyone turns to look at me. And I'm just in a mess of neon, fanny pack, Sharpie, glitter, everything. Absolutely mortifying. And I mean, I made it through class, but I think that was the one and only time I was like, all right, no, like if that ever happens again, we're just skipping class. I wouldn't say I made it to all my classes. So that was Greek life. I'm trying to think if there's any other stories. I think, do you know what is, I forgot about this. Okay. So at Texas, I don't know if other people, you know, went to schools in the South. It's weird. There's a lot of traditions. Hook 'em. But there's a weekend called Texas OU weekend. And my mom and I talk about this all the time. And we're just like shocked that this is a thing that everyone does. And I'm pretty sure they still do it. So essentially Texas OU weekend is in Dallas, between Oklahoma, the Sooners, and then obviously my school, Texas Longhorns. We meet halfway. It's like called the Red River Rivalry. Everyone goes. It's a massive game. So all the girls in sororities get asked to go by a guy in a fraternity. And yeah, okay, you're listening. That sounds fun, right? Okay, well, you don't know this guy. First of all, my freshman year, I met a guy at a frat party and he asked me to go. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so honored. Yay. I did not realize what happened. So you're asked to go with a frat guy and you want to get asked by like the cool frat. Okay, like there's like hierarchies of frats. You want to get asked by one of the cool ones. And then you go on a bus with them. And you're expected to get them a cooler, right? But not just any cooler. You can't just go to Home Depot and get a cooler. The girls spend months painting a custom cooler. Like, I'm not kidding. Girls in my dorm were slaving away, sanding, painting, like hand drawing little cartoons of them and the guy. Like, weird. Okay. At the time I was so busy with cheer in class. Like I ended up just paying someone like $300. And that was not me paying. I had to beg my mom because at the time I had no money. My mom was like giving me money, like $100 every week. So I had to beg her. I was like, Mom, I need money. And she's like, why? And I was like, I'm going away with like a random frat guy for a weekend and I'm expected to paint him a cooler. And I'm also expected to fill it with his favorite alcohol. She was like, what? But I was like, Mom, it's a thing. It's like, I can't not do it. Like I'm going to be left out. I'm not going to be cool. And she was like, okay. So she paid for this cooler. Then I had to find someone who was of age to go into a liquor store, and the girls are expected to fill the cooler to the brim with the guy's favorite liquor. Like, I'm not talking like beer. This is before White Claws were a thing, which is crazy, but like handles of Jack Daniels, top shelf. If you wanted to be a good date, you got him the good stuff. So okay, that's like $500. Then you go away and you stay in a hotel room with this random guy and then another couple that you don't know. And you're just hammered the whole entire time. But looking back, I'm like, did anyone think this was weird? Did anyone think that this was just kind of strange? And I did it all for years. Every single year. It was like such a big to do. I was like, oh my God, Texas OU weekend. Like, what guys asking me? I think one year I went with a guy I was actually seeing. But the other times you literally go with a random dude. You stay in a hotel room with them, with other people you don't know, and you just pay a lot of money for booze. So strange. I don't know if anyone goes to Texas anymore. Please let me know. Is that still a thing? It was a thing. It's so strange to me. Also, let's keep in mind another little tangent. Back in the day, sweet baby Kim Willette gave me a budget during school. This was before, towards the end, I did actually work, but my first couple of years, I didn't have time with school and everything I did. My budget to get groceries and survive, I want to say, maybe it was $200, but I really do think it was $100 a week. And I was talking to my mom about this. I'm like, I spend $100 a day on dumb shit I buy on Amazon now. Back in the day, a week, I just remember like when I would run out of money, I would go to our grocery store and I would buy grapes like to keep in my dorm room, and grapes are freaking expensive. Okay. Like grapes are $10. That was 1/10 of my budget for the week. And I would call my mom and I would check my little debit card and my bank account would be out. And I'm like 2 days into the week and I'd have to call and be like, Mom, I'm so sorry. Like, can you please put more money in my account? She would get so mad and she'd be like, stop buying the damn grapes. They're so expensive. And I'm like, but Mom, like, it's just wild to me. And I'm so thankful for that experience. I feel like it made me appreciate money, and it made me appreciate having my own money 10 times more. So, okay, that was Greek life. Texas OU weekend is weird. Frat guys were weird. If we're talking about the most mortifying moment of my college experience, which I actually did make a list and it says most mortifying in my college experience. The top one at that list is I was in a frat party. I loved Greek life. I loved me a frat party, especially when it's themed. It was themed 80s. So I am in metallic leggings, a little cute little headband, whatever. I don't know what was in the punch. I don't think you want to know what was in the punch. You're in a basement, first of all. You're in a dirty frat house basement. And I was at, I don't know which one it was, but I don't know. I drank the punch. And all I remember is I'm there with the guy I'm seeing. And I'm actually mortified saying this. I really am. It truly, like, I can't even think about it without breaking a sweat, because I remember being so embarrassed. I thought I had to change schools. I was like, I need to change my name. I need to go to a different university. Literally everyone forgot about it. I just like projectile vomited in the middle of Sigma Chi, just everywhere, to the point where I don't even know who had to clean it up, because I just remember the guy I was seeing like grabbing my arm and being like, oh, we're getting out of here. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was the girl that threw up in the Sigma Chi basement in metallic leggings. I think this is my sophomore year. Anyways, that was mortifying. I'll get into more of my list of mortifying topics, but I also did cheer. That was cool. That was my like life goal, was to cheer at the University of Texas. So I cheered all 4 years. It was crazy. When I tell you I ate, slept, breathed, did everything for cheer, it was intense too. So, yes, I had fun with the frat parties and the Greek life, but I actually like was so invested in cheerleading. First of all, in order to get on the field, I feel like a lot of people don't know this with collegiate cheerleading, or when I was there, you have to take a test. You have to take a test and pass. So I had to take like a 300 question test study over basketball knowledge, all the head coaches of Texas, all the random stats, and you have to pass it. So that's step number 1, kind of intense. Then I feel like everyone's like, oh my God, you're on the team. Like, you get to go on the field and cheer in front of 100,000 people. No, every single week. And I would get like anxiety before this, because I wanted to be on the field so bad. And it was such an intense process. We had tryouts. So no. You don't just try out once a year to be on the team. Yes, you do. You try out every single week to be on the field. So just because you're on the team at Texas does not mean you get the fun fringe uniform and your pom-poms. You get to like go in front of the Jumbotron. No, every week we had tryouts, and some girls would make the field and some girls would not. And I just remember one, I think it was like my sophomore year, I did a standing tuck, and God forbid, I landed it, but I put like a finger down, little finger, And then I didn't get a cheer that week. And I just remember, like, now saying it sounds so dumb, so silly. I remember that time, it was like the world had ended. I called my mom crying hysterically. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm not cheering. She was like, you can try out again next week. Like, it's fine. But at the time, like, that's how intense it was. So I think there was maybe one game I did not cheer my whole entire 4 years. And I would like to remind myself, I was injured at the time. So yes, I messed up, but like I had an injury. But I mean, cheering was great. Again, Texas was not that great when I was there. So we're doing really good this season. When I was there, not our best. And I'm honored to have cheered for such a cool school. My grandpa played football there. My mom went there. It was like a huge tradition. My family loves Texas. Go team. What's not that fun? When you're on a field and it's 110 degrees and I've got extensions. I got a massive poof on my head. I got fake lashes. I got a spray tan. So I'm trying to stay positive. We have to smile the whole entire time. When the team starts losing and the stadium empties, my ass had to stay on that field with a smile on. So like that was probably the most difficult thing. And then obviously I did not get to tailgate. So the big experience I feel like in college at these big schools are tailgates. So you go early and you're drinking with all your friends. And like, I never got to experience that because I think we had to show up like 5 hours before the game, do all this stuff. So I never got to experience that, but it was always fun-ish. When I'm on the field and all my friends, like my sorority sisters, like spot me on the field and they would be so insanely hammered and I am so insanely sober and they would stumble down like with their little iPhones, like screaming my name, just being out of their minds, and me having to like pretend like I don't hear them because we weren't like supposed to really interact with them. So that was fun. I'm trying to think of like my most mortifying cheer moment. I wore back in the day before I had these lovely sewn in extensions. I think this was before hand tied extensions were on the market or a big popular thing. We had clip-ins and I got them from Sally's. If you know, Sally's was the shit back in the day. I love Sally's. And I think I had they were like $100, like these clip-in extensions. And I would clip them in. I would tease my hair up. I will have to post a photo of me when I cheered at Texas because, the saying, like, the bigger the hair, the closer to Jesus. Like, that was a thing. And it was before, like, we knew how to really style our hair cute. I feel like the cheerleaders now do, like, little braids or, like, half up. No, I had, like, a snooky poof on the smack dab top of my head, and it needed to take over my whole entire head. Now that I look back, I'm like, you look like you have a growth on your forehead. Anyways, I had these clip-in extensions, and I did it all. I was a bass, I was a flyer, I was a back spot, I tumbled, all that stuff. So I was tumbling, and I was doing like, I don't know, like a full or something, and my hand caught my extension, and when I went to flip, the extension came out, and like just like a chunk of hair, and think of in front of 100,000 people just like laying there, just like a little like pet. I like obviously like did not know what to do. I can't just like sit there and like clip it back in. I just remember being so insanely mortified. I think I like quickly picked it up. I think that I just like threw the extension on the ground and like pretended like nothing happened. Yeah, someone in the stand somewhere way up there probably was like, what is that furry thing on the field? And it was my hair extensions. With cheer was, look, I did take it seriously, but I also really, really loved to party in college. Like I was a wild animal. So my cheer coach, I wouldn't say she loved me, but I did good. I always hit my tumbling skills. I always did good in the stunts. I showed up for practice. I was good, but I also really like to go out. So after the game, me and my friends are, instead of going home and fueling our body and hydrating and replenishing those electrolytes because we just sweated in 110 degree heat for 5 hours. No, our main goal was to get out of the stadium as quick as we can. I went home. I would put on the tiniest little sequin mini skirt, a fun little top from Express, and I'd have like a dangly Kendra Scott necklace that I really liked. The long ones with the little tassels. I loved those. I would put on the chunkiest pair of high heels, not cute heel, like chunky platform heels. I would keep in my poof from the game. We had like these little Longhorn tattoos on our face. We wanted to keep them because we wanted everyone to know like we were the cheerleaders who just cheered. And we would slam, like literally bring plastic water bottles of vodka, hop in. We didn't have Uber back then, but at Texas, we had this woman. This sounds sketchy. Her name was LaTonda. And we called her LaTonda in the Honda because she drove this massive like suburban thing. And literally, this was before Uber, so we had no way to get downtown. We were trying to get downtown as quick as we can because we wanted as much time at the bars as possible. Literally, I just know we would come into practice Monday. My cheer coach would be furious because she would see photos. Like at one point, I did a stunt on 6th Street. 6th Street is where we would party. Dirty Six is where like the college kids would go. And my ass, literally in my mini skirt, there was a video of me on my Instagram of a guy tossing me up in a stunt. Not my best move, but my coach called me into her office and was like, you need to delete this. I was like, I'm sorry. Anyways, I digress. Back to LaTonda and the Honda. So unsafe. We would call this woman. I hope she's well. LaTonda. She's probably not well if I had to guess. I'd be like, LaTonda, we're going out. Can you pick me up at whatever, the dorms? She'd be like, I'll be there. She would roll up in this giant bus thing. But there would already be like 10 people in the car. So we would cram. I'm not kidding. We would sit in the trunk. We would cram as many people in this as possible. So unsafe when you think about it. And picture this. She pulls up. She can't pull up right in front of 6th Street because there were cops there and we would get in trouble. We would pull a block behind and you would open the doors and it's like a clown car. There'd be like people just spilling out, little girls in mini skirts, me and my poof, a bunch of frat guys, some other random people. And she would only take cash. So it was $3 per person. So there would be one person be like, all right, okay, we got 25 people here. Someone had to gather everyone's $3. And I think that's like the only time in my life I ever wanted to carry cash is I had to pay LaTonda and the Honda. And then we would go out to the bars and I'd probably use my really shitty fake ID and tell me why. I don't know are these drinks still a thing, but they were called Adios Motherfuckers. And they were bright neon blue. And my favorite thing to do with my girlfriends was there was a bar and it was called Aquarium on 6th Street in Austin, Texas. If you go there, please let the bouncers know Morgan says hello. I'm sure they remember me. I loved an elevated surface at Aquarium, but it was where all the football players hung out. So, well, yes, I loved Greek life. You know what I loved more? I was such a cleat chaser in college. I loved an athlete. So I had to go to the bar where the football players were. And all I wanted to do was get on an elevated surface in my little sequin mini skirt. So that's how the night usually went. LaTonda drops us off. We hustle down the little hill. We go into Aquarium. I hand him my fake ID. I order an Adios Motherfucker. Disgusting. It is a picture. You can get a picture of them. It is neon blue. I don't know what was in them, but you could only drink one because it would get you so hammered. And then I'm sure I go up to someone and I'd like give them my empty pitcher and I'd be like, lift me on the bar. And some random linebacker would just pick me and my friends up one by one and just place us on this bar. And then we would just dance on a bar. And now looking back, I'm like, I am mortified. You know what I should have been doing? Maybe studying. You know what I really should have been doing? One of my friends in college started a YouTube channel. And I was like, you are so lame. What is this YouTube thing? You're going to vlog yourself? No. I'm going to go and I want to go to 6th Street. Well, guess who's a millionaire now? This girl with her YouTube channel that she started in college. Her and Danny Austin. Danny Austin, the creator of Divi, went to my school, also started YouTube there. And I was like, this girl, freaking YouTube. What do you think? You're going to make money off of this? Do I think she's going to make money off? I think she's making millions off of it. And instead, I wasn't doing that. I was being a degenerate. So yeah, that was my college experience. Let me see if I missed out any of my most mortifying things. No, that was it. Made sure to, we'll bring up in case you were wondering, my weirdest collegiate hookup. That sounds weird. Collegiate hookup. The weirdest thing that happened as whatever. We all have our hookups in college. I think I dated someone my senior year, but up until then I was just, having fun. there was one guy who actually I just saw, speaking of marriage and engagement and everyone and their mom getting engaged. He did just get engaged. I'm so happy for him. Wish him well. Haven't talked to him in a while, but he was like the heartthrob in college, played football naturally. I was obviously into him. Whatever. So we went to 6th Street. I was in my sparkly little mini skirt, went home to his apartment. Tell me why this man, poor guy. I shouldn't be saying this. He had like a galaxy projected on his ceiling, like in like little glow in the dark stickers, stars everywhere. And I'm like walking, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Then look, no shade on guys with cats. I'm sure a lot of men like cats, but it was a little strange that with the galaxy and then there's like 2 cats purring. Then he had a keyboard and I was like, oh my gosh, a musician. I love a musician. Starts playing the keyboard as we get home from the bar. It's very late, and starts playing My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. And I just remember I'm like, I gotta go home. I need, what am I doing here? I need to go home. As he wasn't singing, but I'm like, near, far, I need to go home. I'm not going to marry this man. And then I found out he did have a girlfriend at the time. It was bad because then I was in a bar like the next weekend and she walked in and I guess saw me because we had posted photos together and looked at me and started crying and like ran out. And that was the last time me and Galaxy Boy ever really talked. But again, wish him well. Y'all, I probably overshared. I went on way too many tangents with this one. It was a lengthy one. I don't know. Do I like it, this podcast? Do I not like this? Am I going to edit it? Am I not? Who freaking knows what we're going to do with this one? But that's all I got for you. I hope you were able to follow along. I hope you laughed. I hope you definitely didn't learn anything, but maybe you learned something from me. And I will see everyone next time. Thanks so much for listening, supporting me, loving me through good and bad. Bye, besties. Thanks so much for listening to the Your Internet Best Friend podcast. It's been real. It's been fun. And I will see everyone here next week. In the meantime, do all the podcast things. Like, subscribe, give me a 5-star review if you please. And catch up with me on social media at Morgan Lee Willette. Bye, besties.